All right, shalom, shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone rule well. And salutations to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. This is Ira from Great Millstone, Wisconsin. And I just wanted to do a quick video on the epidemic that is happening in Pakistan. Stated yesterday, February 3rd, 2020. Basically, it says, this is from the dailymail.com. or .co. It says Pakistan declares national emergency after its worst locust plague in 27 years, as video shows millions of insects sweeping through the city in Saudi Arabia. So they're having a locust plague, which locust plague is told in the Bible is one of the plagues that the Lord bestowed upon Egypt for having Israel in captivity. And the thing about having a locust plague is that locusts are known to eat their body weight in food, So, and they eat crops, they eat grass, So if let's say we were coming up on the growing season or the planting season, which should be coming up in about April, the locusts will swarm and they eat all the crops. So now what you have is you have a food shortage, now you have famines, because you can't harvest half-eaten food by locusts, and this is what's going on in not just Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, but other countries as well, throughout Africa too, and so the Lord is beginning to visit the nations of this world, man. You got China getting hit with the coronavirus. The Lord is visiting these nations to show them that they don't have any power, man, because they don't know what to do with these so-called random plagues, that we know are coming from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, that are coming to their countries, So without further ado, I'll start the article. It says, Pakistan declares national emergency after its worst locust plague in 27 years, as video shows millions of insects sweeping through city in Saudi Arabia. It says, a locust plague is wreaking havoc in Pakistan, as unprecedented and alarming swarms ravage crops, as shocking video shows millions of insects sweeping through Saudi Arabia. Pakistan's government declared a national emergency at the weekend after an infestation of desert locusts arrived in eastern Pakistan. It comes as locusts have been decimating crops and livestock pasture land in East Africa, including swarms 40 miles wide. That's a lot of locusts, man. I'm here in Milwaukee, 40 miles from... I'm here in Milwaukee, and 40 miles from Milwaukee would be, to almost to the city of Madison, almost to the city of Madison. That's a wide gap of area, man, covered by locusts that's being eaten up, Just that land alone, let's say if there were plants being planted and crops being planted there, those crops alone would probably supply half the state, Let me play this video here, just so you brothers can get a look at the what locusts look like when they swarm, man. Because this is a plague of Egypt happening all over again. So, and that looks devastating, man, especially if you're a farmer, or, if you're tilling some type of ground. That is the last thing you want to see, is locusts swarming all over your crops, man, because now your money is being destroyed, your food supply is being destroyed, So let me scroll down here. It says, the swarm has been wreaking havoc in eastern Pakistan and destroying crops, including cotton, wheat, and maize, which is corn. We are facing the worst locust infestation in more than 2 decades and have decided to declare a national emergency to deal with the threat, Information Minister Ferdo Ashik Awan announced on Saturday. According to National Food Security Minister Makhdoom Khusro Bakhtiar, the locusts were currently at the Kholistan Desert close to the Pakistan-India border. The locusts arrived in Pakistan from Iran in June. So they've been having this locust infestation since June of last year. It is now February. So for 7 months, they've had a locust infestation that they haven't even told the world about until it's gotten on a level to where it's a national emergency. The locust, and that shows you that these nations are going through things that the Lord is putting these nations through things that, that we don't even know about, It says, the locust attack is unprecedented and alarming. Bakhtiar told Pakistani lawmakers on Friday Pakistan last saw a serious locust infestation in 1993. Meanwhile, swarms of locusts have been milling the skies in Saudi Arabia, and one video circulating online showing the sky saturated with insects. Like, that's the video I just showed you. This is another shows a tree in Saudi Arabia crawling with desert locusts, which consume their own body weight in food each day. It says the UN has warned. It says the UN has warned that the locust plague in East Africa countries, including Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia, could trigger a humanitarian crisis. The horde of 360 billion insects has laid waste to farmland and caused damage in Djibouti and Eritrea, posing an unprecedented threat to food security. As locusts by the billions descend on parts of Kenya in the worst outbreak in 70 years, small planes are flying low over affected areas to spray pesticides in what experts call the only effective control. Which, that's even worse, because now you're spraying pesticides on these crops that you're hoping to get these locusts off of that the people still can't eat because they're infected with pesticides now. So you're not doing any good harm to the coming famine. If anything, you're aiding it. It is the worst to affect Ethiopia and Somalia for 25 years and could grow 500 times bigger by June when the next generation hatches. Woo! The Lord is destroying these nations, man. It says the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations Director General Q Dong-yu has called for an urgent funding to help provide security for the region. It has already used $15.4 million of the $76 million it was requested to tackle the emerging crisis in the 5 countries. The next generation of desert locusts, 1 million of which can eat through food for 35,000 people in just one day. Man. It says, so 1 million locusts can eat through 35,000 food for 35,000 people in a day. Just imagine if this was to keep going for a year. They'd have no crops. They'd have no food, except for the food that they're importing in from other countries. It says, and they are expected to be ready to swarm in April, which coincides with planting season. So, in April is 3 months away, man. Well, 2 months. Oh, yeah, 3 months away because we're in the beginning of February. So that's not a lot of time, man. And the Lord is visiting this world, man. That's exactly what's happening today. Just like, Slovakia. It seems I can't. There we go. Just like in Egypt, man. Like the Lord said, he said he's going to smite Egypt with plagues as before, And we know, Egypt is talking about the modern day Egypt, which is America. But these countries, are receiving these plagues just all the same, man. And for some reason, my Blue Letter Bible is not responding well. All right, so I wanted to start Exodus 10 from 1, but it seems like my Blue Letter won't let me do that. So I'm just going to start from 4. It says, else if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring the locusts into thy coast. And this is going all the way back to the Empire of Egypt, when we were held captive. And locusts was one of the plagues of Egypt, man. And they shall cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth. Going back to that video I just showed you, nobody was able to see the earth or to even see the sky, because the locusts covered the face of the sky. It says, and if the locusts here in Egypt covered the face of the earth, that means they were eating up everything. It says, and they shall eat the residue of that which is escaped, which remaineth unto you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which groweth for you out of the field. And they shall fill thy houses, and the houses of all thy servants, and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were upon the earth unto this day. And he turned himself and went up to Pharaoh. It says, and, oh man, this is horrible. Salakia Hakim. It says, as Pharaoh's servant said unto him, how shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the men go, that they may serve the Lord their power. Knowest thou not yet that Egypt is destroyed? So the Lord is destroying these nations, man. And they're reaping of these plagues just like Egypt was reaping the plagues, man. Because not only did Egypt have Israel in captivity, but when you fast forward up to now, going back to Psalms 83rd chapter, all these nations contributed into Israel being in slavery yet again here in the modern day Egypt, which is America, man. So this is why they're reaping this judgment, This is 2nd Ezra chapter 8, verse 50. It says, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in a later time shall dwell in the world. And a great misery that we're seeing is the locust plague, man. Because it's depriving 5 countries of food. Because they have walked in great pride, And that great pride comes with worshiping idols, man. Contributing to Israel's captivity, man. Contributing and forwarding Israel's affliction. That's prideful. The worshiping of idols. Giving league for Jake to worship these different idols and these different religions and these customs. These people maintain the world in such a bogus and detrimental way, man. It's not even it's nothing to scoff at. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14 verse 22. It says, moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of the Most High. So it's not enough just to not, or to go off, inside of the Lord. They have to be extra with it. They have to mount up idols. They have to mount up satanic rituals and customs. They have to destroy the people of the Most High. But whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace. For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites, like I was just saying, witchcraft. The scriptures say that great misery shall come upon those that dwell in the world, because they've dwelt in great pride, man. They walked in great pride. And this is a part of their pride, man. Killing their children in sacrifices and using witchcraft. Thinking that the Lord isn't watching them. They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another traitorously, or grieved him by adultery. So they defiled marriages by adultery, man. And this is in this time period, people are more adulterous than ever, man. Disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good turns, defiling of souls, changing of kind, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanness. This world is increasingly wicked, man. This is the reason why that the plagues are going to descend upon the world more and more, man. For the worshiping of idols, not to be named, is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. For either they are mad when they be merry, or prophesy lies, or live unjustly, or else lightly forswear themselves. For insomuch as their trust is in idols which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt. So the idols that they're worshiping the gods that they worship aren't even real, man. And they take no consideration to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, And that's not to the rest of the world, that's to Israel, because, the rest of the world can do whatever the hell they want, because they weren't given the law, statutes, and commandments. But Israel were, man. But the thing is, they're following the ways of the heathen, So in turn, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is punishing the heathen. It says, howbeit for both causes shall they be justly punished, both because they thought not well of the Most High, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness. And they despise the prophets, They despise the scriptures, you know. They despise the law, statutes, and commandments, you know. For it is not the power of them by whom they swear, but it is the just vengeance of sinners that punisheth always the offense of the ungodly. You know, so this is your vengeance coming, the Lord's vengeance coming upon you, man. You know, and there are more plagues to come. There are more things that are going to happen in this world that are going to be unprecedented and unexplainable, man. You know, like you know, people like to say it's going to be biblical. You know, it's going to be on such epic proportions that you can only call it biblical, man. You know, this is I believe 2nd Ezra chapter 16, and I'm gonna start at verse 37. It says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack, as when a woman with child is in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment." Right? You can't stop birthing pains, man. You know, you can't stop the contraction when a woman is about to have a baby, and they just get worse and worse and worse until that baby is born, man. You know, and in this case, the baby being born, you know, is the destruction of the world. It says, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side." So you're going to get more plagues than just locusts in these, you know, small 5 countries. You know, you're going to get, you know, sooner or later it's going to get to a point where that darkness that was in Egypt, you know, with the sounds of wailing and gnashing of teeth, that's going to come back as well, man. Every plague that was given to Egypt is going to come back now in this time, man. You know, and even the plagues that are not written in the book. It says, "O my people, hear my word." Oh yeah, that was it. Yep, that was it for that scripture. So yeah, scriptures say, "And sorrow shall come upon it on every side." So you know, sadness and grief is going to be upon the whole world soon, man. You know, and the Lord is showing us the signs in the starting point now, man. The scriptures say, "Measure thou the times diligently in themselves," man. So when you're looking at the current events, you know, we're marking the time. That's what time is, a chronological order of events, man. And us watching these events unfold, you know, watching the process unfold, does nothing but increase our faith more and more and more, you know, and increase our strength and our want to be delivered by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. You know, so with that, I want to give all praises, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Chakodash, the honors to the apostles, the elders, great millstone, who are well, and salutations to the brethren on 4 corners of the earth, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. Shalom.